It's just so inspiring to see young children who want to join the armed forces or who want to do something in the service of the country. It always makes me emotional. But Ambassador Rajiv Dogra, we need more. We need this generation to be far more involved in the nation and the coming generation, because Bharat is going to be put to the test. Well, it's only just started, this process.
Well, yes, the confidence has just started. It's no longer a question of giving in, sitting back and watching terror or ingress into our territory by other countries. So it's not, and the change is that it's not a reaction, it is anticipatory moves. And young generation, children like this, would be the forefront of that anticipatory move. So it's good that this is happening now. And I think one more thing is that we need to make them aware of recent history, especially after 1947, not just about colonial history told by colonial masters or by invaders. That is already being done, the rectification is being done and is necessary. So two periods which to my mind are very necessary that young generation should know about is one, before the colonial times, how great was India? And after 1947, how things have changed and slowly things are working out in India's favor. So these two messages must be conveyed at a very young age so that they become confident, they become aware of what is involved in advancing a country.
Somewhere, I think one more aspect is of us as a nation. We tend to become, we celebrate unity in diversity, and we must, but we should not get stuck in our regional, identities. There is always a overall superseding national identity, which is very, very important. Group Captain MJ Vinod is also with us. So we got the Army, Navy and the Air Force in terms of veterans on the panel this morning on Republic Day. So Jayant, Group Captain, पहले आप मिग उड़ाते थे, सुखोई उड़ाई है, आजकल आप ड्रोन उड़ा रहे हैं. So you are also getting into Atmanirbhar tech, so which is fantastic. We'll talk about that in a bit. But in terms of the optics on today, General, is this important? Like he said, anticipatory for the next generation. Should we also now start doing preemptive strikes, move in before the enemy consolidates? Are we in a position as a nation to be able to do that?
If you are asking me the capability, we do have. We can, we have done it also once or twice in the past, but not at the level that you are. But I do not think that we need to be showing our aggressive designs. However, wherever it impinges on our security, we need to be proactive. We need to be, like we have made mistakes in the past. Those mistakes should not be repeated. Then only we'll stand. Peace will prevail, not only within the Bharat, it will be all across in the region. And nobody dare does anything like what they have done it in Venezuela or they do it in the Middle East. That part of thing must be categorically that we will respond. That message must clearly go.
That message must clearly go. See, politically, somewhere, is this a challenge for India to stay neutral? What is Bharat's position? We saw Nitin Nabin saluting. The BJP is also going through a transition. Leadership, younger leadership is coming through. The challenge for India remains to remain relevant. Now, is the political disposition, the Prime Minister aware of this? When he endorses someone who's just in his mid-40s as a national president of the BJP, what's the signaling that's going?
Absolutely. I think, Anand, this is a big generational change in the BJP. This is the party, I think, which has pushed the bar when it comes to rewarding real talent on the ground. We have seen in other parties, especially the Congress party, a Congress president who's well above 80 years of age. But here is the BJP, which goes for one of its youngest BJP presidents, and Nitin Nabin, somebody who's risen from the ground, a ground karyakarta, multiple time, 5-time MLA, 3-time minister in the state government, somebody who knows the nuts and the bolts of the organization. So I think the BJP, such talent and such is always rewarded. And we've seen that in the past as well. On one point that was being mentioned earlier, how India has also maintained, especially the EU thing, I think is very important today. See, this is the biggest deal that the European Union will have with any other country, nearly 2 billion consumers being added, though the deal will be concluded on the 27th and will come operational only next year after ratification from the European Parliament. But I think this is also a message by India. India has signed more trade deals with other countries than, in the recent past. We have seen the last 1.5 years. The message to the US as well. I believe that India is a strong country. You may impose 50% tariffs on us, but we will not succumb and sign a trade deal with you just because you want it to be a certain way. So I think India's sovereignty and India's strength as a country with such a big population, such a big market, India knows its worth, and that is what is being displayed to the US as well, and that is what make Mr. Donald Trump also come around and say that we'll have a good deal with India soon.
And maybe reduce another 25%.
Yes.
So there's a climb down that's also happened from the American side. But Group Captain MJ Vinod, the Europeans are now saying the Air Force did a phenomenal job in Operation Sindoor.
Indeed it did, and Shiv, and I was in United States when we were covering Operation Sindoor. The point, Alif, that I'm taking, the question that you put forth earlier about should we be preemptive and should we take, offense to the door of enemy. I think all of us know we did. It was a terror attack for which the answer we gave was across the IB. The answer we gave was loud and clear, Operation Sindoor, and this is the first Republic Day after Operation Sindoor.
Yes.
And this year we are having a tri-services tableau as well. So all this is, both in terms of optics and in terms of action, we have sort of moved a step ahead of what generally people perceived about India as being a meek or a defensive nation, or a nation who may or may not act upon any terror attack on them, like with 2611. So that shift is loud and clear, and that shift probably is the reason why people are sitting up and taking notice. And thanks to the shenanigans of Trump, people are also moving away from dollar and United States hegemony, so to say. All this put together is good Amrit Kal that is waiting for us, I think, down the road. Like the gentleman said, EU's reduction from 110 to 40% and the trade deal, I think it is going to be a big shot in the arm for our economy and a big slap on the face on Trump's, dishing out off with your head tariffs.
Here's what many people say: you can ink a lot of trade deals, but they have to come into fruition. Now, that's the testing part. That 6 months, 1 year, 1.5 year time period that will take for it to come for the wheels to get into motion. By then, the enemy would also be making their moves. Now, Ambassador Rajiv Dogra with us. We'll have the conversation of Parikshit with the EU Trade Minister played out just after your comment. Now, during the break you were saying that the terror tanzeems are all being rebuilt. The training camps are all coming back up. So this is a constant process. On the other hand, eastern borders are vulnerable. Our oceans are vulnerable. The chicken neck needs to become stronger and wider. There are challenges. And we have to move like yesterday, not day after tomorrow.
Well, exactly. And you were also talking about the anticipatory moves. And one example, and very important example that comes to my mind is Siachen.
Yeah.
Had we not moved in there in the 80s, probably we may have come to a position where defending Kashmir and Ladakh would have been extremely difficult. It is a difficult proposition even now, with China and Pakistan being what they are. But that was an excellent example of anticipatory move, which saved us a lot of bother. As far as EU is concerned, I hope that they come to a point where they are self-sufficient defense-wise, because presently they are poodles of America. But becoming self-sufficient defense-wise would take them a long time. I mean, there are countries in the EU which have 50,000 standing army, 20,000 standing army, 70,000 standing army. They cannot come to India's rescue, nor does India need them to come to our rescue. But just in case they are needed, for example, in Indian Ocean to show their face and presence, they will need to have a sufficiently strong base themselves. At present, they do not have it. Second, the mindset. I mean, of course, it is good that the EU leaders are here.
Right.
The two leaders are here. But the fact is that the previous foreign policy chief, a chap called Borrell,
Yeah.
he was so anti non-whites that once he made a statement which is widely publicized and criticized, was that Europe is a garden. Countries which were colonies are still in the
But I'll tell you, Ambassador Saab, those are the same people who opened their doors and they have allowed such kind of rampant migration that Europe has run rot there. You know, so these people live in their own cocoons and they're devoid of or delinked from the reality on ground. The other thing is, sir, economic prosperity. A nation that is economically strong, shows prosperity and stability, everybody will want to engage with it. I'm not even saying we need European support. We should get to a stage where we will tell them, listen, we'll help you put boots on ground and we'll supply you. You just give us the money and we'll give you the kind of equipment to defend yourself. That's the level we need to raise Bharat to. We've got to take a short break, viewers. Lots of commercials in this half. But when we come back, Parikshit in conversation with the EU Trade Minister, some very interesting insights on the trade deal and the future cooperation between Bharat and the European Union. Stay with us.